just want to respond quickly to a comment left by The Laughing Out on a video that I made where I was dressed in like this chicken suit, climbing down some pipes. And the comment that you left there, Laughing Out, was, you know, does anybody ever see me doing this stuff? And he passes by. And as I said, you know, in my reply, yeah, that happens quite a lot actually. Not with that particular one. That was it's kind of way out where those pipes are. But yeah, quite often people see me doing this stuff, and their responses differs quite a lot. Actually, varies quite a lot, and my responses to them varies quite a lot. You know, because sometimes they just have this kind of bemused expression. You know, with it being England, people are kind of reserved, I think. So people will just like walk past as if everything is kind of fine, you know. Other times people will stop and watch, and occasionally someone will come up and ask me what I'm doing. Not often, but sometimes people do that. And when they do that, I usually describe what I'm doing rather than, you know, kind of theorise it or trying to justify it. You know, like if it was the chicken suit one, I would just say, you know, I've made this dress. It's like a tutu actually. It's supposed to be a tutu, which I've made out of curtain fabric that I got from the market. And I bought this chicken mask from a fancy dress shop in Truro. So I'm just pretending to be a chicken, and now I'm just doing this thing with this egg. So I would just describe what I was doing. I've done that a couple of times, and people seem perfectly happy with that. Because I think when people say, what are you doing? They don't really want to know what is the meaning of your action. They kind of just want to know that you're not nuts. And at least being able to describe what you're doing so that you're demonstrating some level of self-awareness. It's kind of all they're after, I think, most of the time. So I think it just puts your mind at rest, and they'll smile. Occasionally I've had larger groups. When I did a video in it's a lake about 1.5 miles from here actually, like a pleasure park lake, and a lot of people hang around the sides there and have picnics. And I had the long rabbit ears on, and I was in the water. I was actually naked, but you couldn't see that, because I was up to my waist in the water, and then just gradually went down until I was completely submerged. That was nice. And there was probably about 20 or 30 people on the bank who gathered, kind of watching me, because they'd seen me get the ears on, you know, it takes a bit of time, and then getting into the water and set the camera up, and first 1 or 2 people, and so I'd say by the end of it, there was probably 20 or 30 people. And when I came out and turned the camera off, they clapped actually, which is a little bit odd, because it doesn't, oh for God's sake, I think he's rolling in something like that. Anyway, yeah, so that was a bit odd. But so it's just a huge amount of variation really in what people do. And I used to feel really self-conscious about that stuff. You know, the first couple of times I did even just this kind of video in a public place, just talking to a camera, was incredibly nerve-wracking. But you know, once you've done it a couple of times, you probably found this yourself. Once you've done it a few times, then it's actually quite easy, and then just doing it in a funny costume is easy, doing it with no clothes on is easy. It just gets easier and easier really, and you start to develop a bit of resilience. At least that's been my experience. Or not so much develop resilience actually. It's for me it felt more like realising that my fear wasn't necessary. You know, there was nothing I needed to protect. Do you know what I mean? Because whatever could be damaged in that situation, my reputation, you know, my pride, my whatever, you know, my dignity, nothing that was worth hanging on to could be damaged in that situation. That's how it felt. So I actually felt a lot stronger as a result of those experiences. So that's that really. I mean, the only other thing actually, this is kind of only tangentially related to what you were talking about, is that in a way it's kind of, it isn't surprising, that's the wrong word, but in a way it's a little bit surprising to me still that people find it odd. Because, you know, I'm quite interested in language, as you might know. And when I did my doctorate, it was about language and metaphor. And, you know, so I spent several years kind of really immersing myself in metaphor and in figurative speech and in understanding how it worked. Both, you know, theoretically reading everything there was to know about it, from the neuroscience of it to the kind of social functioning of it to its use within political speech, all that kind of stuff, but actually pragmatically working on it as well, trying to develop it as the use of figurative language better as a kind of practice. And what I found with that is it incredibly heightened my sensitivity to the way people use figurative language in speech. And so quite often when I'm hearing people talk, it's almost as if I'm hearing these strange, or seeing almost in my mind's eye, these strange metaphorical performances that are taking place You know, because our speech and our language generally is completely shot through with metaphor and figuration and poetics. Even when we're trying to be plain and simple and to the point, you know, and trying to the point. I mean, isn't that word, to the point? What does that mean? When we try to get down to brass tacks and we try to be plain and clear, you know, it's just endless metaphor. And so all the time when people are talking, I've got this kind of movie going on in my head quite a lot of the time, which is full of people doing odd things. It's full of people moving from clear places into cloudy places, from people going to points and getting to them for some reason, and from people grasping things and then letting go of things, and then people being bogged down in mush, and then coming out of the mush and handling some hard facts. So in my mind's eye there's all these objects and substances being manipulated, and people putting things inside other things and taking things out of things all the time. I mean, the only difference essentially is that I do it for real, you know what I mean, as opposed to it just populating my language. It's all, I've just allowed it to populate my behaviour a bit as well, really. That's essentially what I'm doing. So yeah, I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel particularly weird about it anymore, I think, than you would feel weird when, you know, allowing people to hear you say some of the things that you say and that we all say, that are, as I say, they're just part of our normal speech, but are actually really bizarre, really surreal, because they're figurative, you know. Now let me get right to the point. I don't pop my cork for every guy I see. Just visualise that just for a moment. I mean, come on, that is weird, isn't it? Anyhow, that'll do. Here we are. I've only got 3 more days in Cheshire, and I'm off back to sunny Cornwall again.